Hey guys, what is up, and welcome to the fourth episode of the TFC Fancast. That is right. It's been a little while since last podcast. Obviously, it's been about a week since TFC played, so it's been a bit of time between them. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be releasing this podcast again. So let's get into it. So yeah, I usually like to start the podcast with my pre-match thoughts, what I think is going to happen before the game. So to me, honestly, I wasn't particularly confident in terms of the team because we had a shocker against New England Revolution, which I never even did a podcast on that, did I? I think I forgot to do a podcast on that. Okay, all right. Well, yeah. Okay, I guess we'll cover that. I guess never. Okay, so either way, the previous game, obviously New England Revolution, we lost 3-2. It was a poor game. That was mainly the reason why I didn't have much confidence because I was just quite worried about whether we would actually be able to get our crap together and show any signs of potentially having some life in the playoff race. So for TFC, we line up in a 4-4-1-1. So we had Bono in goal. Then we had Auro, Zavaleta, Mavinga, and Vanderveel lining up in our defense. Then we had Chapman, Bradley, Azorio, and Telfer in the midfield with Vasquez and Hamilton as our attacking output, pretty much. And then for Orlando City, they lined up in a 4-2-3-1. They had Bendick in goal, former TFC goalkeeper actually. They had El Monir, Tarek, Sane, Johnson in the defense. They had Higuita and Rosell in the midfield. They had three attacking midfielders, Meram, Kilgestian, and Muller. And Pino was their striker. Actually, Kilgestian actually was probably their main threat. He actually apparently had 14 assists in the MLS each of the last 3 seasons. So, uh, yeah. And then Pino up top there. So, let's get into the goals. Obviously, the main highlights of the game. So, in the 63rd minute, now Toussaint Ricketts had come on 3 minutes earlier. So Victor Vasquez now is on near the top of the box. Victor Vasquez played a reverse ball to Toussaint Ricketts, who had to deal with a charging Joe Bendick. He hit it off the post, but the defense was napping. The ball went right back to Jay Chapman. He nutmegged his own player and put it into the back of the net. And that's got to be TFC's first lead in like 2 weeks or so. And that was a fantastic goal, a really incredible pass, and I was so pleased. Then I turned to anger after he was subbed off in 30 seconds later, but that's not what we're talking about. What we do have to talk about, though, is the fact that, yeah, they scored a goal back 10 minutes later. Christian Higuita scored. It was a scramble in the box, craptastic defending of the highest, well, lowest order. It was pathetic, really, but either way, Coleman managed to dig it out, passed to Higuita on top of the box. He curled a beautiful shot into the low corner. Far side, and that was just a good goal there. However, we started to put the pressure on after that. And, well, we deserved what we got 14 minutes later. Because Arrow now went one-on-one with their defender, and he was already on a yellow card, Mr. Willow Johnson, because he got blown by Arrow, and he just crossed the ball to the far post, where Telfer was waiting, who hit a rasping volley into the low corner. And from about 10 yards out, Ryan Telfer scored the winning goal of the game as it finished 2-1. And that was a beauty of a goal. Just great play to shift it out to Arrow, then brilliant for him to get around the defender, and then a beautiful volley to top it off. That was just absolutely fantastic. Alright, so now I feel like it's time to take a look at the tactics and how the tactics really influence the game from both sides. So obviously TFC without Sebastian Giovinco were forced to change how they were playing, as they usually set up in a 4-1-4-1, but were forced to set up in a 4-4-1-1 without his attacking presence. Yeah, so now let's talk about tactics, obviously, like I said before. So an interesting fact was that Vanderveel really showed his tactical flexibility, as this guy's normally a right back, right wing back, or at bad times a right center back in a back three. But he actually showed really good flexibility to switch to the left back position, and he was actually quite an effective force down the wing for TFC. I honestly found he's such a skillful player. Like, there's a reason why he did well in Europe for how long as he did, and I'm surprised he didn't stay longer, to be honest. Um, but it's not the point, as was absolutely brilliant, had a great performance, and really showed why he deserves to be here. In terms of our two center backs now, Zavaleta and Mavinga. I was actually fairly happy with them. They did actually stick pretty narrow a lot of the times, and I found that was good because Zavaleta's a little worried because he could get paced. He's not the fastest. At the same time, he did very well. And Mavinga was absolutely just a standout in defense yet again, an absolute stalwart, and was just really a classy defender, someone who I'm so glad we have. He's been such an addition to defense, and to be honest, if we can actually just have Zavaleta and Mavinga, honestly, I think I'd like to still have Drew Moore, but at the same time, I wouldn't be too upset with Zavaleta because he seems a little more comfortable on the ball than Drew Moore, and that's his one weakness for a team like us. And then in terms of our fullbacks, obviously we talked about Vanderveel. Now in terms of Auro was just a beast down the wing. This guy was playing kind of like a right midfielder. He was kind of playing like the right side of Marcelo. I'm not saying he's Marcelo good, but he was playing like the right side of Marcelo, because he would actually bomb down the wing a lot of the times, and I found a lot of the times he was actually overlapping Chapman, so Chapman would kind of function as the right wing back of a sorts, but at the same time still play like a right midfield. So I'm a little surprised that Orlando actually didn't really target that, because that was a one weakness. We were really pressing them well that side, and we were creating chances on that side, but at the same time that side was very much open to the counterattack. And now looking at our two main central midfielders, Michael Bradley and Jonathan Osorio. What can I say about Bradley? Pretty simple. Thank goodness this guy is back in midfield. He was an okay center back, but the thing is, lack of pace killed him. This guy's a great defender, just couldn't keep up with some of the pacier forwards. In the games I watched, that's very much something I noticed. And, yeah, well, he did very well. And I think, honestly, if we could have had him in our midfield, I think we would have won against, who was it that we lost in the final? Oh, Chivas, right. Chivas, right. I think we would have won, because he's such an incredible player in the midfield when he actually gets to play there. And he put on a good performance. And someone who I've criticized a lot, but someone who actually did have a pretty good performance in this game, Jonathan Osorio. What a technical midfielder this guy is. The amount of composure he has, not in front of goal, but away from goal, in terms of holding onto the ball, passing it to the right places, and generally just getting out of trouble when, say, Mavinga and Vanderveel there, and are basically we're trying to play it out of the back, right near the corner flag, right? It'll often be Vanderveel or Mavinga passing to Osorio, and then Osorio will either make a great turn pass to Bradley, or he'll just send it down to Telfer. Basically, obviously a diagonal pass for Telfer to run onto. And that was really important for him. He was part of the reason why we were able to shift out of the defense so well, and he put on quite a performance there. And I would say that was quite impressive. He really did prove me wrong in terms of that. His finishing still left a lot to be asked for, to be honest, and that's why I was so happy when it wasn't him with that chance to score our first goal, because I'm not sure if he would have done good enough when he was given the chance. But in fairness to him, he played a very good game. He was technically sound. He showed why he still deserves to be in the lineup. And to be honest, I did kind of like the 4-4-1-1 a little bit. Now, if only you could have basically Giovinco instead of Hamilton, and then you could put Vasquez into the left midfield with them, and then have Giovinco and Altidore there. But that's obviously just wishful thinking, as it's going to still be, I think, 4 weeks now, I think, for Altidore. So he's still not going to be back for another month, which is rough. But if we can play like this, then I think we still have a chance at least. And now looking at our two outside midfielders. Now, Telfer and Chapman. So they're both goal scorers. But if I'm being honest, I have to say Telfer impressed me more. I find this guy's actually, he's definitely more of a natural winger. And you know, maybe it's hard, maybe it's harsh. I mean, not too bad because I mean Chris Brunt was a Premier League player for a lot of his career, but he does kind of remind me of Chris Brunt. He does have a fairly decent whip in. Doesn't have the most pace. Doesn't seem to offer too much, but he does surprise you. And to be honest, he was pretty good. Honestly, I definitely do not like him as a left midfielder, but obviously that was his position to show on the lineup sheet, but he was really playing as more of a left winger, if I'm being honest. He was fairly good. Like, he wasn't someone where I definitely want to say take him out of the lineup. Maybe if he hadn't got the goal, it was iffy, but he did actually show his technique, and he did obviously. I think he showed enough for me to deserve to be in the lineup as long as it's in a scenario where it is right now, where Altidore isn't there. If he isn't, then I think he is a bench player, to be honest, and he's someone who can improve and be even more of an option in the future. But it's pretty good so far. He was a very good performer, and he's definitely someone who deserves another shot after the kind of great game he had. Now over to Jay Chapman, the goal scorer and just a technical midfield wizard this game. Absolutely brilliant linking up play with Bradley and Azorio. Really good at getting the ball over to Vasquez, because Vasquez, plus the guy, running is not his thing. He'll run when he needs to, obviously get the ball and pass people, but at the same time, yeah, nah, it's not his thing. So Chapman is doing really good link-up play, really good interplay, switching the ball from midfield to attack very well. And she did a fantastic job down the wing. Obviously, he'd cover for Arrow if Arrow had gone far into the box to try to whip one in and get a header or play a low-driven cross. You saw defensively, he was very good attacking-wise, and I see no reason to really give him much criticism. I think the only criticism related to him would be that fact that he was taken off for Delgado, who, I'm going to be sorry here, but I think Delgado doesn't really deserve to be starting, because Chapman was definitely good enough to be on the team. And Delgado, maybe I'm biased by that Chivas miss, maybe, probably not, to be honest. I think I've gotten over that to a certain degree. But Delgado's just, no. If he scored the winning goal, I think I would have, that game, I think I would have obviously just blindly stuck with him all season. But if I'm being honest here, no. Nah. Delgado doesn't deserve to stay on the team, and to be honest, I wouldn't be too upset if this is the lineup we keep for the next couple of games and maybe with interchangeable center backs. So, yeah, it was a shame to see him go off. At the same time, he definitely played well when he had the opportunity. So now we shift our focus to the attackers, and those two are Victor Vasquez and Jordan Hamilton. So let's start off with Hamilton, actually. Hamilton, meh. I think the best way to describe him would be meh. Not good, not terrible, just bang average. And to be honest, I think the only reason why he's even getting started or anything is simply because of the fact that we have so many injuries. Because I don't see him as being anywhere close to good enough to actually go along and really do too much with TFC. If I'm being honest, I would like TFC to get another striker alongside Altidore, so Giovinco could play more in the pocket. If I'm being honest here, someone like a Balotelli would be the dream. If I'm being fantasizing there, but that probably would not happen. But the point is, was his movement great? I mean, he runs through the channels. Credit to him on that. He works hard, but I just don't see the technical ability there. And if I'm being honest here, maybe he'll prove me wrong long term, but I just don't see enough from him, if I'm being honest, really. I would like to be like nice, all nice and friendly and stuff like that, but I just can't really lie there. It's just not really enough to really show me that he actually deserved anything. I mean, obviously I'm not the person that chooses that, but at the same time it's just not enough really. So yeah, and then obviously the final player that I want to talk about, actually no, not the final player, but one of the last attacking player I'd like to talk about is Victor Vasquez. Now Vasquez was absolutely brilliant this game. If you take a look at his performance now, this guy was all and up and down the pitch. He wasn't doing too much tackling, wasn't doing too much running, but you have to say the one thing about him, his positioning is absolutely incredible. He has a Modric-like ability to find the pockets of space in between the midfield and attack, and I felt a couple times actually players didn't shift it to him fast enough, as he's able to get himself in such good positions where other players almost can't see him, even though he's open, where some players just don't have that ability to hit him there. But it was very good. He had a very good performance. Obviously, he had a fantastic pass for the goal. Obviously, he didn't get an assist. I think I probably went to Jose Enriquez, if I'm being honest. But at the same time, he had a very good game, and he may or may not have actually featured on the hour goal. I believe it was either him or Bradley that may have actually shifted that over to Auro before he crossed into Telfer. So, great game from him, and very, very solid. And now, I think I want to talk about the substitutes. And the only one I want to talk about is Tosin Ricketts. What I have to say about him, solid performance, very good runs. That's the thing, he is a very good runner. He has more technical ability than Jordan Hamilton, if I'm being honest. I think Jordan Hamilton could maybe use a loan to like Sweden or Finland even, just to see something different and come back a little bit. Because yeah, I don't know, I'm just not impressed, but I am impressed by Ricketts. I do like him. I think he's definitely a decent backup striker. If I'm being honest, I would like to see him being a third striker instead of a second striker, because I don't think he's good enough to be a second striker. But he definitely can fill in adequately. And then now, the final player I'm going to talk about is Alex Bono, who had some very, very good saves in this game, and really just had an extremely solid performance and just showed why he deserves to be in the net over Clint Irwin, really. This guy's very good on clearing balls onto the cross. So, one thing I will say, obviously, is that his form of distribution is not really my favorite, if I'm being honest. He's not really too willing to actually shift it to from his right to his left foot for the purpose of spreading the ball out a little bit more. I would like that if I could see him doing that, but at the same time, I mean, I guess you can only ask for so much. But yeah, no, overall it's just good. I remember he had one ridiculous save. I think it was off of yeah, it might have been a cutback, but he just managed to palm it away and tip it out for a corner. And I don't think I really have anything bad to say about Bono, honestly. He was just good. I mean, the goal, he couldn't really do anything about it. It was just a ludicrously good finish, and yeah, it was a shame he obviously conceded. He deserved to keep a clean sheet in that game, and yeah, no, overall, he was good. Alright, so I think that's really it for the game. I will say, in terms of our tactics, actually, I didn't mention about it, but personally, to me, I think we played more of a we did play more of a 4-1-2-3 in a way, because we obviously played a 4-4-1-1, but I noticed Chapman was pretty much playing like a right midfielder. So a lot of the times, and then Telfer was going up, so Chapman and them were acting like wingers in the sense. Then Auro would kind of play more as a wing back. So yeah, and then Azorio would kind of just be in that weird sort of pocket space once in a while. So I think maybe a 4-1-2-3, or maybe no. Sorry, not 4-1-2-3. I think more of a 3-3. More of a 3-3-1-3, if I'm being honest here, because Vanderveel kind of played as a center back-ish when we were out of possession. And Chapman and Telfer would go up, support Hamilton, and then Auro would kind of jump into the midfield more, and then you'd have a defensive three, you'd have a midfield three, you had Vasquez there as in between the pocket, then you'd have obviously Chapman and Telfer supporting him. And in terms of Columbus, I'm in Orlando City, jeez. If I'm being honest, I don't think I really noticed many tactical changes. They were kind of defensive. They didn't really offer too much until their one goal. They didn't really make any tactical changes, if I'm being honest. Not really any great ones. I mean, Josue Coleman looked very good, so I have to give credit to him for that change. But at the same time, I don't think the manager really did enough to get them a point. I think they could have, if I'm being honest here, obviously without looking at it in a biased way. I think they could have got a point out of this game if they could have made a bit better changes. Like, I don't think there's really a need to take off your right midfielder. I think the left side was kind of somewhere where it could have been exploited a little bit more. So, but yeah, no, obviously I'm happy for them not to exploit it as we managed to grab a win. So now to end off this stream, I'd like to actually take a look at our upcoming match, and that's going to be against FC Dallas. As we are, yeah, so taking a look at Dallas at least. So in their last few games, they've been decent. They've drawn with Vancouver. They won against LA Galaxy, drew against LAFC, lost against New York City FC, won against Philadelphia, won against New England, draw, win, draw. Yeah, they've just drawn a lot. They've just drawn a lot. So meh, meh. Still a lot better off than us, to be fair. But at the same time, not anything absolutely petrifying, if I'm being honest. And I think with this sort of win, this is maybe a season-defining win. So I have optimism for us, really, and definitely I have belief there. So let's take a look either way at the stats players to give us a sense of how they're likely to do. So Lamar is the best midfielder. He scored 5 goals. They've actually won 2 games because of him. Then Maxi Urruti has scored 5 also. And then in terms of our sisters, Diaz has 6, and Lamar also has 4. So Roland Lamar is going to have to be the one we look for as dealing with. And then their goalkeeper, Jimmy Maurer, he has 3 shutouts in about 8-9 games. So that's pretty good, respectable from their goalkeeper there. So yeah, what do I think about the scoreline? I think it'll be a 3-1 victory for TFC. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, but at the same time, I see us getting goals because Sebastian Giovinco is going to be back then, so I think we're in for a good time. So that's going to be it for the podcast. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Obviously, feel free to leave questions in the future because I will actually answer them if you send them on Twitter. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. And peace!